Fountain Green at around 12:06. And Brian, it looks like we have an update.
Yeah, we do have an update from the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service office has said the tornado warning does remain in effect. They're going to hold on to it until 12:15. At 11:57, that severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado right there where we had said near Webster, about 8 miles to the east of Carthage and moving to the east. They're saying at 35 miles an hour. Our radar saying that that's picking up a little bit, maybe at around 40 miles an hour. Again, tornado is the hazard. It is radar indicated. We don't have any ground reports of this yet. There are some spotters that are in that area, but we haven't had any reports of anything, any damage or anything on the ground just yet. But they are saying the radar indication is pretty decent here, and flying debris will be dangerous if you're caught outdoors and out, not in a sheltered area. Shelter doesn't mean mobile home. You don't want to be in a mobile home. If you can get away from that and be into a sturdier structure, and of course stay away from windows, try to get to an interior floor. I heard Kyle talk about all that. Tornado, and again, max size hail about 3/4 of an inch. We saw some reports there about 3/10 of an inch or so of hail. Right now, again, we don't have any ground reports. I did just get another video of a lowering here. I'm trying to see what it looks like exactly. This video sent in. It shows maybe a little bit of a lowering. It's more just like a little bit of a protuberance out of the underside of this storm cell. So I don't actually see a full-blown wall cloud with this. They look like they're would be in a good spot to view where this is, but they're not seeing that, or I'm not seeing it from this video that they're seeing. So we'll leave that as it is. We'll continue to follow this severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning valid until 12:15.
All right, thank you so much for that, Brian. And again, in addition, to that tornado warning, we still have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Again, thank you for pinpointing that, Brian. Areas, even though you may have seen a lot of rain, that does not mean you're out of the woods just yet. I mean, in Macomb, you could be in the direct line of fire to see this tornado warning storm move, if not just over you, just north of downtown. And again, that is moving generally to the east or east-northeast at around 35 miles per hour. And of course, for our trained storm spotters, please stay safe. If you do not feel comfortable doing any storm spotting with this tornado, again, I would not recommend you do that. But again, any reports are good reports, again, as long as you are staying from a far enough distance from this tornado warning storm. Once again, if you are not a trained spotter, please do not go out and into the storm and try to get any reports or any pictures or video. Your life, your family's life, and your kids' life are far more important. And again, here's how everything tracks out. It's moving generally to the east or just north of due east at around 35 miles per hour. So at almost 12:30, this will be moving near Emmett, Illinois. 12:34 again will be Macomb. Macomb Municipal will be 12:37. At 12:40, it'll be in Scotland. It'll be arriving at Bushnell at 12:52 p.m. and then arriving at Harris at 1:01 in the afternoon, right after that severe thunderstorm watch gets expired. But again, it looks like it could actually move right over downtown Jowetta. If I pronounced that correctly, I apologize. But in addition, again, we still have that tornado warning right now in effect through 12:15 Central Daylight Time. I know the time right now is almost 12:04. So we've got another about 10 more minutes to track this out. Again, there's still time for this to be extended, and if it would be, I would not be surprised at all to see it encompass the city or town of Macomb. Again, that would be putting much more people in the line of fire for this. So again, you need to keep it safe. Don't panic. Just make sure you have a plan in place to make sure you're getting down to a lower level of your home, preferably a basement. But also, if we look down to our south, we are starting to see a lot more in the way of shower and storm activity fire up. As of right now, none of this is severe or tornado warned, which is good news. And theoretically, this should help lower the instability for much more storms to really begin firing up later on this afternoon and into the evening. And it looks like some cities that are being impacted or affected by...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
And then again, just to the south of this tornado warning, again, we are starting to find some more showers and storms bubble up. I earlier mentioned that not only is this tornado warning what I'm watching right now, but for the chance for some more severe weather to take shape over the tri-states later this afternoon and into the early evening time frame. But right now, again, this tornado warning is what we're focusing on right now. It is showing the rotation actually within that rain shield. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a little bit further south. And Brian, it looks like we have an update.
Yeah, the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities is saying that their current internal kind of debating whether or not they should continue this, but it is continuing and its current strength, and they would probably lean towards reissuing or extending this warning, just like Kyle was talking about. That view that they were talking about, that we saw this, or I'm able to see a little bit of an image from someone here. It may be fighting a little bit of stable air, but cloud fragments underneath cloud say that they're less convincing towards less stability. And now the view of it is kind of obscured, where they had a pretty clear shot of what was going on. It looks like it's obscured by a lot of rain right now, so this may be becoming a little bit more rain wrapped and not out in the free air where you can kind of see things that are going on. So right now they're going to hang on to this tornado warning, but we don't see any way of and again, they may reissue this. So that's where it's sitting right now. All we can do is kind of track it. It has a nice shape on it, though. I mean, if you were just to go by shape alone on this storm system itself, you would look at that shape and say, that looks like it would possibly have a tornadic signature with it.
Sure. Again, thank you so much for that update, Brian. And again, as he earlier mentioned, it seems as though it's moving into more stable air. You see right at the beginning of this radar loop, larger line of non-severe warning storms move through areas where they are under the tornado warning right now. Hopefully that is doing something to hinder this tornado warning storm from becoming much more intense and possibly producing a tornado that is making it down to the ground. But again, we're still finding that rotation, and that warrants that tornado warning right now. And again, it looks like that strongest signature of rotation either right over Fountain Green or just to the southeast of downtown. And it looks like it's moving, or either it just moved right over Hancock a few moments ago. So again, Brian also mentioned that this is kind of rain wrapped in nature and it's becoming obscured. You can easily see that right now, where it seems like the best rotation, or the strongest signature of that rotation, is getting closer to those deeper greens, yellows, oranges, and reds. Wherever we see those deeper colors, that's where those heavier rain showers and storms are falling. But again, you can easily tell that this general clockwise flow coming in around Hancock and Fountain Green, and on the backside, it looks like it's coming north, or it would theoretically be coming north out of Pilot Grove, and then west from Carthage there. So again, this is something that looks it does look concerning on radar, but fortunately, hopefully, it is moving into an area where more stable air mass. Just saying how those stronger storms rolled through late overnight and into earlier this morning, that theoretically again should be hindering this storm as it moves through. But again, we are continuing to see that notch and that signature, and that's not a good sign if we end up seeing that tornado possibly happen on the ground. As of right now, though, except for some lowering, we haven't gotten any reports of that making it to the ground. So that's good news. But again, right now the time is 12:08. And we have about 7 more minutes on this tornado warning. Only time will tell if this gets either extended or expired. And again, right now, this is that next view again.
Do you want to go back to that?
I'm sorry?
Did you want to go back to that?
No, it's
okay.
Good. But it looks like, though, there's some more hail signatures on radar. Again, I earlier mentioned, once you get that really deep reds and the pinks, sometimes we look for, some hail to be falling. And there was earlier a tag on the tornado warning for that hail to possibly be falling at upwards an inch in diameter. That could, bring down some smaller tree branches. I know all the trees across the tri-states now have bloomed, so they are, in essence, heavier. So once you get hail to be falling on the trees and the tree branches, that can cause some tree damage as well. And not just that, this is a very loud storm. A lot of lightning is associated with this. So that just also adds to the fact that you need to be taking shelter indoors. If you get struck by lightning, your chances of survival go down a lot. And that's not to scare you. It's just, fact of the matter. You need to keep it safe, keep it away from windows, unplug any outlets right now, especially if you're in this tornado warning storm. And on radar right now, you can see that tornado warning did get extended. It looks like Macomb is on the far southern periphery of this new tornado warning. It also includes the town of Scioto, and it looks like it goes right up until Bushnell. Brian, do you happen to have any update on that?
Yes, let's just go ahead and read right from the National Weather Service, and they did extend it into from northeastern Hancock County into McDonough County. It is now valid until 1 o'clock, so it is 12:09. This is going to run for about another 51 minutes here if it goes to its entirety. Moving to the east at about 30 miles an hour, as you said, located right over or near Fountain Green, 12 miles west of Macomb, moving to the northeast at around 30 miles an hour. It is all radar indicated. They had some spotters up in the area. They're not seeing anything to the ground, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't drop down at any time. I do expect to see some flying debris. There is quite a bit of kind of an inflow into this storm. I would guess if you were there, you're probably seeing some 40, maybe 45 mile an hour wind at least coming into this storm. It says that it will be near Macomb, as we suggested, Blandonsville, Scioto, right on the campus of Western Illinois University, over into Argyle Lake State Park. If you're familiar with the Macomb area, in the McDonough County 4-H grounds near the Spring Lake area at around 12:15. So it is moving again to the east at 30 to 35 miles per hour. Good Hope and Macomb Municipal Airport right about 12:20, and then Scottsburg right about 12:25. That is the way it is looking right now. And I just got a question from Jason that I don't know the answer to, and he was asking, the other day we had weather radios that were not working properly up in McDonough County. It wasn't the radios, it was the transmitter itself. So if you are not hearing a warning on your weather radio, just remember that we are telling you there is a warning right now for Macomb and McDonough County because weather radios, again, were not being activated the last go-round of severe storms.
All right, thank you for that, Brian. Thank you for the update, Brian. If you're in Carthage, I do want to let you know you are no longer under that tornado warning in Carthage, Illinois, so you can stand down. But if you're in Fountain Green, again, you cannot. You're still under that warning until 12:15 this afternoon. And once again, earlier today, I mentioned that our dew points were very high. A lot of juice in the atmosphere to fuel these storms as well, and that's I guess helping to fuel the fire for these storms to really erupt and roll through our tri-state region. And again, we were under a level 2 of 5 risk today. And that just goes to show you that, even though our risk may have been lower than what it was the other day, you still can't, it's nothing to sneeze at. Level 2 of 5 risk can still get you severe weather. It got us a severe thunderstorm warning earlier today, and now not 1, but 2 tornado warnings this afternoon. Again, time right now, 12:12 in the afternoon. And again, right now we are seeing that strongest radar signature just between Fountain Green and higher, on the border right now between Hancock and McDonough County. This is going to be a very hard area of rotation to see, especially if you're looking in from the north. If you're watching the storm from the south, it may be a bit easier to see just because, out ahead of the storm, we're still getting that southerly influx of flow. And Brian, it looks like we have an update.
I just wanted to point one other thing out on that radar when we're watching that, because we were watching this storm and getting an easterly movement on it, saying moving directly almost to the east. But then when they issued the new warning, you can see that that actual warning kind of jumped a little bit to the northeast. So this is interesting because a lot of times when we get a little bit of regeneration on some of these storms, it kind of tends to come out of the south. Well, this jumped to the north, so this thing is turning maybe a little bit to the left as opposed to turning to the right. Right would indicate that it's really kind of strengthening, so it's just maintaining, and it is going with the mid-level flow at this time. So I don't think, while it is still holding on here, be my guess that by the time this gets up to Scioto that they would cancel this. But we'll hang with it right now. Again, severe thunderstorm warning, which also has the tornado on it. The tornado warning valid right now till 1 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. As Brian earlier mentioned, it looks like it took a little bit of a northerly jog than due east, and you can easily see that with this newly updated tornado warning. With that to say, though, if you're in Macomb or areas on the southern periphery, you got to take this seriously. I mean, as long as you're under that tornado warning, you need to make it to the lowest level of your home. If you have a basement, get there as soon as you can. If you feel more comfortable, do it with some cushions, couch cushions, blankets, some bed mattresses to shield yourself from any projectiles if windows end up blowing out, and particularly strong wind gusts. It doesn't even have to be a tornado. If you get an 80-mile-an-hour straight line wind gust, your windows may easily blow out if something hits your house, and then all of a sudden everything becomes a projectile, it seems. So again, I do want to go ahead and just reiterate where you should go in the event of a tornado. And again, right now we have that tornado warning. Nothing on the ground yet reported, just radar indicated. But again, you want to make sure you're staying away from the garage, you're staying away from the exterior bedroom, especially anything above the first or ground floor. Keep it away from the living room. You can have a lot of cabinets, a lot of armoires, a lot of couches and sofas. They're hundreds of pounds that can easily become projectiles in the event of a tornado. Again, common sense. Stay away from the kitchen. You got a lot of knives, cutlery that can easily injure you or hurt you. But where you want to go in the event of a tornado, if you have to go to a bedroom, make sure you're in an interior closet or an interior narrow hallway or an interior bathroom with no windows or access to the outside. And again, your best bet would be the basement. But of course, we still are seeing some indications of hail. Earlier, Brian showed a graphic that showed around an inch in diameter, which that would get us to that severe criteria, upwards of an inch. But earlier, what I saw on the tornado tag was around 3/4 of an inch or a penny in size. With that said, that will be causing minor damage to trees, possibly a dent or two on top of your car. But again, our main concern with this, of course, is the tornado and the tornado warning. Again, not confirmed right now, but what I'm seeing though is a lot more in the way of pink, which does suggest that there could be more or at least a stronger hail core with this system. And Brian, if you can go ahead and zoom in on this storm cell real quick. I don't know about you. Feel free to correct me, but it does look like there is a good area of rotation now, just coming into near higher. Yeah,
it looks like that to me too. I would say I concur. There's your rotation south of the Blandonsville area. I mean, this thing can take a turn to the right, but I would say since it's pulling to the left and been pulling to the left, I would say that Macomb. I don't want to outspeak the National Weather Service, but it looks like it's going to go north of Macomb. As I said, it's not directly moving to the east. It is moving to the north, the east-northeast, which would impact the Blandonsville area and Scioto, and this may even miss the Good Hope area. But right now, and these radar images that you're seeing, sometimes they're not exactly on point, where they may be a mile or two off. So it could be not exactly where that is, but I would say at this time that they should probably skinny this warning down a little bit and not have it clip the Macomb area based on what we're seeing on our radar.
Okay, thank you. Also, Brian, was there any changes in the forward motion of speed? Is it still moving to 35?
Still said 35
okay.
On the last check.
Right, yeah, so you want to make sure, even though this is not moving incredibly fast, you do not want to try and outrun this storm. Again, tornadoes can move very erratically. Even if we're seeing, a general, east-northeasterly fashion, something could change real quick where it easily makes a northerly jog or quick jerks to the south, and that could easily put someone who didn't think they would be in the direct line of fire into that line of fire. So again, you want to make sure you are staying stationary in a safe place, preferably a house, preferably on the lowest level of that or basement. And again, there's that strongest level of rotation now. It looks like it's being embedded within that heavy rain shield. So whatever is going on in terms of rotation or if a possible eventual tornado lowering to the ground, it would be rain wrapped, almost impossible to be able to see which way you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from the north, even if you're looking at it from the south, it's going to become harder and harder to notice what's happening in front of you as time progresses. So again, unless you are a National Weather Service trained storm spotter, do not try to go get that viral video or that viral photo. Your life, your family's life, your kids' lives are more important than to try and get a good photo of this. And again, this is moving just north of due due east at 35 miles per hour. Emmett would likely be on the far south side of this strongest area of rotation, but it could come very close, if not directly, over Scioto or portions near Good Hope over the next, say, 20 to 30 minutes. And Brian, you have an update?
Just a little bit of an observation that was here, and that was we have 4 trees down. It says trees, doesn't give a size. This comes from Hancock County Emergency Management in Joetta. Sometimes when they report trees down, a lot of times it is branches down, but they are saying 4 trees that are down. And then in addition to that, we have a report out of Blandonsville of some nickel-sized hail. So I haven't had any verification on these, but these are reports that are coming in, both from, one of them's from a ham radio person, the other is from emergency management. Looks like we have a severe thunderstorm warning that is being issued right now. Kyle, I'll bring that to you in just a second.
Sure, thank you. So again, we have this tornado warning. It's in effect until 1 o'clock Central Daylight Time, so we've got another 40 minutes to track this out for you. Again, I don't care if we're on for if this is in effect for the next 10 minutes or the next hour and a half. We will do whatever we can to keep you and your family safe from the elements. And again, it looks like this is moving just over or just due north of higher, moving to the east-northeast at 35 miles per hour, moving parallel to what looks like Route 5. It's hard for me to make that out on the radar. But in addition, again, it looks like now we have a severe thunderstorm warning. I'm sorry, it was Illinois Route 9, my apologies. And it looks like it's going to move over where Illinois Route 9 meets Route 67, likely within the next, say 10 to 20 or 30 minutes. Again, thank you, Brian. So this severe thunderstorm warning, the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, was located right over Blandonsville, or 8 miles northwest of Macomb, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So it's slowing down now. But also, ping pong ball size hail is now a threat with this. So we're now looking at the chance to see some hail larger than that of an inch. So well within the severe limits, but also, of course, we're looking at the chance to see 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And that severe thunderstorm warning does extend now past the area of the tornado warning. So this, in a way, feel free to correct me, Brian, but I'm kind of starting to think that they may have issued this severe thunderstorm warning with the chance that they might go ahead and cut this tornado warning short.
That's the way it looks to me, too. As I said, as the storm gets near Scioto, that this storm may not be able to hold together. When it gets rain-wrapped and becomes difficult to see, and they had a kind of a free look up into this storm from where the spotters were, and then that got rain wrapped. And a lot of times when that happens, that kind of can spell the end of these mesocyclones that are rolling. So they probably went ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm warning, thinking this thing is probably going to pick up in speed as far as moving, but then that the actual tornado warning itself may not be extended. So they may cancel it, they may hang on to it, but that would be a long hang on to but we're still seeing some rotation based on our radar right here, and I'm looking on a couple of different radar programs that we've got, and I still see that rotation that is there, although it is not quite as strong and it is a little bit more broad.
All right, thank you for the update, Brian. In addition, right now, Scioto in Illinois, it's not directly under that rotation, but you can easily see now it's getting under what looks to be like that hail core. And as Brian mentioned, there was recently a report of nickel-sized hail. So that moving over your area, you gotta keep it safe. Again, keep it indoors, especially saying that you are under that tornado warning. And again, this is a pretty good loop of showing what happened earlier. So these same areas that are under that severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning already got socked with a good dousing of rain. And again, now we're seeing that one lonely cell moving to the northeast at around 30 miles per hour, now having moved ever so slowly from that initial speed of 35 miles per hour. Still, theoretically, you can drive faster than it, yes, but it's going to be very hard to see that rotation now that it's completely embedded within that area of heavy rain. You do not want to play that. You don't want to play with Mother Nature. Mother Nature is more powerful than you. Make sure you are not driving if you are anywhere within this tornado warning. Keep yourself stationary in a home. are in a business, the lowest level of the sturdy building that you can get. Of course, mobile homes won't cut it. They can easily be tossed around and destroyed in winds of even less than 100 miles per hour. In addition, you want to make sure you're getting to a basement if possible. Again, keeping yourself protected from the elements. And again, that's really important now that not only do we have this tornado warning, but it's also within now a recently issued severe thunderstorm warning. But as I talked about earlier today, we have a level 2 of 5 threat for severe weather. I know the other day we were under a moderate 4 of 5 risk. And even though it didn't pan out the other day, as you know, big tornado outbreak over the tri-states, even though we have a lesser risk today, we're still getting that tornado warning. So that just goes to say that it's important to take any severe risk that we have very importantly and very literally as well. And again, this tornado warning in effect right now through 1 o'clock Central Daylight Time, unless it gets discontinued. But with that said, we're still dealing with that severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 1:15 this afternoon. And again, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see instantaneous rainfall rates, several inches of rain per hour. Again, very heavy rainfall is associated with these storms. I know today it wasn't highlighted as one of the highest risks for severe weather, but now we could be dealing with some localized flooding. And again, thank you, Brian. We have a precipitation rate instantaneous, over 5.5 inches of rain per hour. Of course, with this moving at a rate of around 30 miles per hour. Do the math, you can probably pick up in some locations near Scioto 1 to 2, even upwards of 2.5 inches of rain as the storm continues to move over your area. So with that said, I know we've gotten out of drought recently and a lot of places are pretty waterlogged. I know some areas, lower lying areas may have some residual ponding from some of our recent heavy rains. This would likely do a number on that and possibly cause some lower level street flooding. So again, please keep it safe in an area where you have, Brian, you have an update?
Well, this is just an update on that tornado warned storm that you're seeing right there where we've got the rotation signal or symbol that is on there. Says that the National Weather Service says severe storm capable of producing a tornado was located near Spring Lake or near Macomb, but it's moving to the northeast at around 30 miles an hour. So they took off the easterly, turned it to northeasterly. To me, as I said, it is north of Macomb for the most part. It's kind of out there a little ways. A tornado, and then they've upped the size of the hail. Ping pong ball size hail, as all of this is radar indicated. We haven't had any large hail reports, but we do see the potential here for some flying debris for those caught without shelter. Could be a dangerous situation. This is a lower end type of a tornado. Well, they're all serious. It is a lower end type of a tornado. Macomb, Good Hope, Scioto right now. But as I said, it looks north of Macomb. Maybe you have a Macomb address, but it looks like it's north of Macomb.
Yeah, downtown's out of it.
Other locations in the path of this storm do include the Swan Creek area in Youngstown. That's way up there to the north. So take cover now if you are on the path of this storm, and it is jumping to the northeast. It will likely exit McDonough County before the warning is over if it continues to track to the northeast as opposed to going directly to the east. It jogged to the northeast, maybe northeast, and now it looks like it's pulling even further to the northeast. So turning to the left instead of turning to the right. So that's what we've got going on. So they will continue to hold on to the tornado warning in McDonough County, but they are starting to think that it's transitioning into a mainly hail threat at this moment. Thus, they have stacked that severe thunderstorm warning on top of it, just like you were talking about, to cover that northern flank of the storm, which is the direction that it's moving. As I said, usually you get a southerly. If you've got this storm and it's starting to strengthen, it starts to turn to the right. Instead, it's turning to the left, and so that the strengthening of the actual tornadic signature itself is starting to weaken and becoming more broad. Even though we're still showing a pickup here, it is rather broad and only at a couple scans deep. Kyle?
Sure. Thank you again for that update, Brian. And as I was just going to mention, and they actually just trimmed the far southern periphery of that severe thunderstorm warning. And I've noticed that that tornado warning did originally include Macomb, but it also was recently trimmed to take downtown Macomb out of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if over the next, say, 7 minutes, they start trimming that tornado warning up to the north again. And, you know, as this storm continues to move closer and closer to Scioto and further within that tornado warning, the further western periphery gets trimmed as well. So I think everything progresses over the next, say 20 to 40 minutes, the southern periphery continues to get edged out of it, as will the southern periphery until this is up and out of our viewing area. And even with that said, this is getting very close to the border. I think there's a chance, what, Brian, 15, 20 minutes before this is completely out of here?
15, 20 minutes. We lost our initial tornadic signature that was on there. As that started to get a little bit more broad, we did lose that tornadic signature that we had. Now we have kind of what we call an early signature. So we had this scan that was going a couple of scans deep. When it gets a couple of scans deep, it's saying, hey, we've got enough rotation here to be concerned about. Now that's gone away, and we've got a little bit of a weak rotation, which is probably more of like the wind coming out of the back end of this storm as it's starting to fall apart and collapse, and some of that larger hail is coming down. When that larger hail comes down, it creates more of a downrush of the wind, kind of spreads out, going north, south, east, west sometimes. But that is what it looks like is going on right now. They said they're going to hang on to this, but for my money, I'm going to say once this gets north of Scioto here, that they probably, if they're not going to cancel it, they probably should go ahead and cancel it. But go ahead.
Yeah, even with that, even if you don't see a tornado lowering to the ground, which again, we don't have any report of that, which is great news, of course, with no lowering to the ground, that means no tornado damage is possible. With that said, though, I still wouldn't be surprised if we see occasional gusts, upwards of, 40, 60, even upwards of 70 miles per hour, which that alone could cause minor to moderate tree damage, could bring, mid-level trees down, especially the stronger, closer to the severe level you get. Again, it looks like the worst of the hail force still moving over Scioto and now just moving out of Landonsville, and higher is almost completely now out of that tornado warning. And it looks like we actually have a new update.
An update to the thunderstorm warning.
Okay, so we have a recent update to the severe thunderstorm warning. It still includes northern McDonough County and west central Illinois. I do also want to reiterate now, everyone in Hancock County in Illinois, regardless of if you were when you were in the tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning, all of Hancock County is not completely out. Hancock County, Illinois, you can stand down, but anywhere in within these yellow shaded and red shaded boxes in McDonough County in Illinois, you cannot stand down just yet. And it looks like, Brian, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like that severe thunderstorm warning was re-extended just to the south, or if not that, the tornado warning was clipped off to the north.
Trimmed.
The tornado warning was trimmed? Okay. So again, this is good news. We're continuing to see our tornado warning get trimmed and shrunk down further. That means there is, less area where that tornado could be if it is on the ground. But even though we're not seeing it on the ground manifested, that likely means the chances of seeing a tornado continue to decrease as the afternoon progresses. And again, as Brian earlier mentioned, we went from seeing a pretty good indicated strong area of rotation. Now this is showing a sign of early rotation and not really, and he said it was becoming a bit more broad too as the storm continues to progress. But we are still finding some pretty gnarly looking hail cores. I wouldn't be surprised if some of our friends just north of downtown Scioto are seeing hail of over an inch in diameter, possibly approaching $half size in nature. With that said, that could bring down some sizable tree branches. A bunch of leaves could be coming down from this. So again, make sure you're playing it safe. Again, of course, if you're under this tornado warning, you still gotta not pretend, but act as though there is a tornado on the ground. Take it to the lowest level of your home. Make sure you're staying away from windows, even if you're under, Brian, you have an update?
I do, and this one is just, I want to tell folks that we can't share all these pictures with you that we get because we don't have the rights to share them, but we are getting some pictures that are in of this storm itself, and very well, there is a lowering, there is a wall cloud that is there. There's also a pretty impressive shelf cloud that is there. But this wall cloud is definitely lowering, but and you can see a hail shaft on the storm itself, and maybe a little bit of a tail out of the back side of this storm but I can't make out, there's not actually a funnel there, but there's definitely a lowering of the cloud base and a hail shaft that is there. That you can see in this picture. It's a great picture. I wish I could share it with you, but we don't have the rights to do that. So that is what we're looking at with that storm, Kyle.
All right, thank you for the update, Brian. So again, main hazards with this severe thunderstorm that encompasses the tornado warning again. So this also does go for the tornado warning itself. tornado is still possible, even though it's not manifested on the ground quite yet. We still also have to deal with ping pong ball size hail. That is more than an inch in diameter. Of course, even if we don't get a tornado to manifest itself on the ground, expect winds to occasionally gust over 60 miles per hour. And I also do want to mention that, can you zoom out real quick, Brian?
Yes, I can.
So, wow, look at that. Instantaneous precipitation rate, almost a foot per hour. Of course, this is moving at 30 miles per hour, but it's still dropping insane amounts of rain. Earlier this morning or this afternoon, I was finding bush snow in northern McDonough County to be on the far periphery of that tornado warning or just about to be put into it. But as the tornado warning itself was getting trimmed to the north, Bushnell is no longer going to be under that tornado warning. So that's good news for you guys. Of course, Macomb, you can stand down. You're no longer under that tornado warning itself. But again, we're still finding not just across the eastern tier of some showers and storm activity, now encompassing areas west of the Mississippi River. But fortunately, none of those areas are dropping any severe hail right now, although we are finding some sub-severe indications of hail just to the west or east of Pleasant Hill and far southeastern Pike County. So this is like barely within the viewing area of us right now, but it looks like this particular
Max hail
storm
size
cell is
3/4. Max hail size 3/4.
3/4 or 1/4?
3/4.
Okay, so that is actually very close to severe limits. Again, severe limits do include 1/4, the size of a quarter, that is, or an inch in diameter. And of course, 58 mile per hour wind gusts is the exact measurement of that severe parameter, but of course, a lot of meteorologists refer to it as 60 miles per hour. Again, with that said, we're still tracking this tornado warning out for you, keeping you safe from the elements, and it says in effect until 1 o'clock Central Daylight Time with this severe thunderstorm warning. Even though it did get continued, that severe thunderstorm warning still is in effect until 1:15 this afternoon. And again, even once our tornado coverage ends here in the next, say, 20 to 35 minutes, you can still go ahead and download our free WGEM First Alert Weather app to make sure you are staying safe through the elements, because we have the chance to see some more severe weather take shape over the tri-states later in the afternoon and unfortunately into the early evening time frame. Luckily, though, it's not going to be an overnight severe threat, as we'll see a cold front sweep through our region later this evening and near sunset. But with that said, again, we're still dealing with this tornado warning in portions of far northern McDonough County and west central Illinois. Earlier, we were thinking Good Hope was going to take the brunt of the storm, or the largest hail core and the largest area of circulation. Now, not so much. And on top of that, we are seeing that hail core drop. So I'm not sure if this is a trend that's beginning, or at least if this is, like a pulse down, pulse up. It's something we see sometimes in meteorology. But this is just this last frame right here. This is good news as it starts to, starts finally exiting our viewing area. But with that said, our rotation, that signature is still inside McDonough County.
Wrap it up, end it.
Oh, okay. So with that said, our chief meteorologist, Brian Inman, said that he is confident enough in this rotation is weakening and broadening enough that this doesn't warrant that tornado warning anymore. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up our wall-to-wall tornado coverage. Of course, with any additional severe weather updates, we'll be sure to cut in or either do later on wall-to-wall coverage. But for now, we're going to go ahead and take it back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah. That's it. Good job.
WGEM First Alert Weather is always on the WGEM First Alert Weather app. Watch live updates on the WGEM News app and WGEM's Facebook page.